Welcome to True Crime Cases, where we delve into the darkest corners of human nature. Today's episode unravels a tale of CEO's secret gay love affair with assistant. Unraveled ends in grisly murder. Alexander Reeves, 45, was the epitome of the American dream, a self-made billionaire whose name had become synonymous with innovation and success. Born to working-class parents in Detroit, Michigan, he had clawed his way to the top through a combination of brilliant intellect, ruthless ambition, and undeniable charisma. With his salt-and-pepper hair, piercing green eyes, and a smile that could charm even the most hardened venture capitalists, Alexander was the golden boy of Silicon Valley, modern-day Midas who seemed to turn everything he touched into gold. Nexus Mind Technologies, the company Alexander had founded in his Stanford dorm room just 15 years earlier, had grown from a scrappy startup into a tech behemoth valued at over $50 billion, specializing in cutting-edge artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms. Nexus Mind was at the forefront of a technological revolution that promised to reshape every aspect of human life. For the outside world, Alexander Reeves had it all. A beautiful wife, Victoria, 42, who was a respected neuroscientist and philanthropist in her own right. Two precocious children, Jessica, 12, and Andrew, 10, both already showing signs of inheriting their parents' remarkable intellects. The family resided in a stunning modernist mansion nestled in the hills of Los Altos, where tech royalty rubbed shoulders with old money and new innovation. Alexander's face graced the covers of Fortune, Forbes, and Wired. His words were treated as gospel in tech circles and beyond. He was a regular at Davos and other elite global forums, hobnobbing with world leaders and fellow billionaires. The stock price of Nexus Mind seemed to know only one direction: up, up, and further up, making Alexander one of the wealthiest individuals on the planet. But beneath this gleaming facade of success and familial bliss lurked a secret that threatened to unravel everything Alexander had built. A secret that would ultimately lead to a grisly murder that sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley and beyond, leaving a trail of broken lives and shattered dreams in its wake. The first cracks in Alexander's perfect life appeared with the arrival of his new executive assistant, Austin Wilson, 28, fresh out of Harvard Business School with an MBA and a background in computer science. Austin was brilliant, ambitious, and strikingly handsome. With his lean physique, warm brown eyes, and an infectious enthusiasm for technology and its potential to change the world, Austin quickly became a rising star at Nexus Mind. At first, Alexander and Austin's relationship was strictly professional. Austin's efficiency, insight, and ability to anticipate Alexander's needs impressed the CEO, and he soon became an indispensable part of Alexander's daily operations. But as the long hours, high-pressure decisions, and shared victories piled up, something began to shift between them. Lingering glances across the conference room, unnecessary touches as they pored over presentations together, private jokes shared in the back of limousines en route to important meetings. The seeds of attraction were sown. For Alexander, this attraction was both exhilarating and terrifying. He had always known, deep down, that he was attracted to men, but he had buried those feelings beneath layers of ambition, societal expectations, and the carefully constructed image of the perfect tech visionary and family man. His marriage to Victoria had been one of convenience and mutual benefit, a partnership that looked good on paper and in public, but lacked true intimacy or passion. Austin, on the other hand, was openly gay, comfortable in his skin in a way that Alexander both envied and admired. As their working relationship deepened, Alexander found himself drawn to Austin's confidence, quick wit, and his understanding nature. For the first time in his life, Alexander felt truly seen and understood, not as the larger-than-life CEO or the public figure, but as a man with fears, desires, and vulnerabilities. Their affair began subtly, almost imperceptibly. Late-night strategy sessions that turned into personal conversations about their hopes, dreams, and regrets. Business trips where they found excuses to share adjoining hotel suites, the thin walls between them humming with unspoken tension. Stolen moments in Alexander's private office, hidden from the prying eyes of the corporate world, where gentle touches and meaningful glances spoke volumes. For Alexander, it was like awakening from a long slumber. Passion and connection he felt with Austin were intoxicating. making him feel alive in ways he had never experienced before. With Austin, he could be vulnerable, sharing his deepest insecurities about the crushing weight of expectations that came with his position. In turn, Austin opened up about his own struggles, the challenges of being an openly gay man in the still sometimes conservative world of big tech, and his dreams of making a real difference in the world. As their relationship deepened, Alexander found himself taking greater and greater risks. He began to neglect his family duties, missing important events in his children's lives, and growing distant from Victoria. At work, he favored Austin for important projects and promotions, raising eyebrows among the Nexus Mind executive team. The once cautious CEO started making impulsive decisions, driven by a heady mixture of newfound passion and middle-aged rebellion against the gilded cage he had built for himself. But as with all secrets in the digital age, theirs was not destined to remain hidden forever. First hint of trouble came in the form of an anonymous email sent to Victoria Reeves. It contained no text, just a single image, a high-resolution security camera photo of Alexander and Austin in an intimate embrace in the elevator of a luxury hotel in Tokyo, where they had been attending a tech con. Victoria, ever the pragmatist and fiercely protective of the family's public image, confronted Alexander calmly but firmly. She had long suspected that their marriage lacked passion, and while the revelation of his affair and his sexuality was shocking, her primary concern was protecting their children and the company from scandal. Alexander, caught off guard by Victoria's composed reaction, promised to end the affair immediately. He assured her it was a momentary lapse in judgment, a midlife crisis that he would overcome. Victoria, with steel in her voice and fire in her eyes, laid out her terms. The affair would end immediately. Alexander would recommit himself to his family and the company, and they would present a united front to the world. In return, she would not seek divorce or expose his secret. It was a bargain born of mutual self-interest, but one that would have devastating consequences for all involved. Unbeknownst to Alexander and Victoria, the anonymous email was just the beginning. Someone was watching, gathering evidence, biding their time, and as Alexander struggled to keep his promise to Victoria while grappling with his intense feelings for Austin, the noose of blackmail began to tighten around his neck. The next blow came in the form of a USB drive left on Alexander's desk. Hidden beneath a stack of quarterly reports, it contained audio recordings of intimate conversations between Alexander and Austin, snippets of their lovemaking in various hotel rooms around the world, and a document detailing the preferential treatment Austin had received at Nexus Mind. Along with this damning evidence was a demand for $10 million in cryptocurrency, be paid within 72 hours, or the information would be released to the board of directors, the media, and Victoria. Panic-stricken, Alexander confided in Victoria, showing her the contents of the USB drive. Together, they decided to pay the blackmailer, hoping it would buy them time to contain the situation and identify the threat. Alexander liquidated some of his assets, careful to avoid raising suspicion, and made the cryptocurrency transfer as demanded. Their relief was short-lived. Just days after making the payment, Alexander received another demand, this time for $20 million. It became clear that this was not a one-time threat. The beginning of an ongoing extortion scheme threatened to bleed him dry financially and destroy everything he had built. As the pressure mounted, Alexander's behavior became increasingly erratic. He was paranoid, jumping at shadows, snapping at colleagues and family members alike. His work began to suffer, and rumors started to circulate within Nexus Mind about the CEO's strange behavior. Board members whispered about potential substance abuse issues or mental health concerns. Investors began to get nervous, and the once unstoppable rise of Nexus Mind's stock price began to falter. Austin, hurt by Alexander's sudden coldness and unaware of the blackmail situation, began to distance himself. He threw himself into his work, but the spark that had made him such an asset to the company was dimming. Other executives at Nexus Mind, long resentful of Austin's meteoric rise and close relationship with Alexander, began to circle like sharks scenting blood in the water. The strain began to show in every aspect of Alexander's life. He lost weight rapidly, dark circles appeared under his eyes, and his once charismatic public appearances became stilted and uncomfortable. Victoria, true to her word, stood by him in public, but their private interactions were tense and filled with unspoken recrimination. Their children, perceptive as they were, sensed the growing discord in their family, but were too young to understand its true nature. It was in this state of desperation that Alexander made a fatal mistake. Convinced that Austin must be behind the blackmail, seeing it as revenge for being cast aside, he decided to confront him. On a foggy Saturday night, after most of the Nexus Mind employees had left for the weekend, Alexander asked Austin to stay behind for a private meeting in his office. What transpired in Alexander's office that night would only be pieced together later through forensic evidence and partial security footage. But the result was clear and horrifying. Austin Wilson was found dead the next morning, his body crumpled behind Alexander's desk in a pool of congealing blood. The scene was gruesome, a stark contrast to the sleek, modern aesthetics of the Nexus Mind headquarters. Austin had been beaten severely, his once handsome face now a mass of bruises and laceration. The killing blow had come from a heavy glass award, Nexus Mind's Innovator of the Year trophy, which lay shattered and bloodied nearby. The office was in disarray, signs of a violent struggle evident in the overturned furniture, shattered glass, and splashes of blood on the walls and floor. Most chillingly, someone had used Austin's blood to scrawl a single word on the office's floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the twinkling lights of Palo Alto, traitor. The discovery of Austin's body sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley and beyond. Nexus Mind's stock price plummeted as news of the murder broke, wiping billions off the company's market value in a matter of hours. Speculation ran rampant, with theories ranging from corporate espionage to a lover's quarrel gone tragically wrong. But as the police investigation progressed, led by the tenacious detective Elena Rodriguez, Palo Alto Police Department, focus inevitably turned to Alexander Reeves. Detective Rodriguez, known for her sharp mind and unwavering commitment to justice, quickly began to unravel the complex web of lies and secrets surrounding the case. Her investigation was meticulous, leaving no stone unturned, as she dug into the lives of both Alexander Reeves and Austin Wilson. First break in the case came from Nexus Mind's own security footage. While the cameras in Alexander's office had mysteriously malfunctioned during the time of the murder, footage from the hallway showed Alexander and Austin entering the office together on that fateful night. Hours later, only Alexander emerged, looking disheveled and carrying a large duffel bag. As Detective Rodriguez dug deeper, more evidence began to surface. DNA analysis found Alexander's skin cells under Austin's fingernails, consistent with a violent struggle. The murder weapon, the glass award, bore Alexander's fingerprint, and microscopic traces of Austin's blood were found on Alexander's expensive Italian leather shoes, despite his attempts to clean them. But it was the digital evidence, proved most damning. Forensic analysis of Alexander and Austin's phones and computers revealed the extent of their affair, as well as the blackmail attempt. The cryptocurrency transactions were traced, leading not to Austin, but to a disgruntled former Nexus Mind employee who had stumbled upon evidence of the affair and saw an opportunity for revenge and financial gain. As the evidence mounted, Alexander Reeves's carefully constructed world began to crumble around him. He was arrested in a pre-dawn raid on his Los Altos mansion. The image of the once mighty CEO being led away in handcuffs splashed across news outlets worldwide. The tech world watched in shock as one of its most celebrated figures was revealed to be a murderer. The brilliant mind and innovative spirit twisted by fear, shame, and desperate rage, the trial of Alexander Reeves became a media sensation. A lurid tale of secret affairs, corporate power, and deadly obsession that captivated the nation. Prosecution, led by the formidable district attorney, Sarah Lancaster, painted a damning picture of a man so desperate to maintain his public image and hold on to his power that he was willing to keep his secret. They argued that Alexander, believing Austin to be the blackmailer, had lured him to the office with the intention of intimidating him into silence. When Austin, innocent of the blackmail and hurt by Alexander's recent behavior, threatened to expose their affair himself, Alexander had snapped. In a fit of rage and panic, he had beaten Austin to death with the very award that symbolized his success. Irony lost on him in his moment of madness. Alexander's defense team, led by high-powered attorney Maxwell Sterling, tried to argue that the killing was self-defense. They claimed that Austin, distraught over the end of their affair, had attacked Alexander in a jealous rage, forcing the CEO to defend himself. But the physical evidence and Alexander's attempts to cover up the crime quickly unraveled this narrative. Throughout the trial, Victoria Reeves sat stoically in the courtroom, her face a mask of composure that betrayed none of the turmoil she must have been feeling. She had filed for divorce immediately after Alexander's arrest, but chose to attend every day of the trial. Her presence served as a silent reminder of the lives destroyed by Alexander's actions, family torn apart by his secrets and lies. The trial also brought to light the toxic culture of secrecy and pressure within the tech industry. Former NexusMind employees testified about the cult-like devotion to Alexander within the company, a long hours and high-stress environment, and the blurring of personal and professional boundaries was commonplace in Silicon Valley. After a grueling 6-week trial that captivated the nation, the jury found Alexander Reeves guilty of second-degree murder. The once-celebrated CEO was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison, his fall from grace complete. As he was led from the courtroom, the man who had once commanded boardrooms with his charisma and vision, now looked small, broken, and utterly defeated. The aftermath of the trial left Silicon Valley reeling, forcing a moment of introspection for an industry that had long prided itself on pushing boundaries and disrupting norms. NexusMind Technologies, once a titan of the industry, saw its value plummet in the wake of the scandal. The company was eventually sold off in pieces, its groundbreaking AI research buried in corporate archives or absorbed by competitors. For the families involved, the pain lingered long after the media spotlight faded. Victoria Reeves retreated from public life, focusing on raising her children away from the shadow of their father's crimes. She used a portion of her divorce settlement to establish a foundation supporting LGBTQ+ youth, turning her personal tragedy into a force for positive change. Austin Wilson's parents, immigrants who had sacrificed everything to give their son a better life, were left to grapple with the senseless loss of their only child. They filed a wrongful death lawsuit against NexusMind, arguing that the company's toxic culture and failure to address Alexander's erratic behavior had contributed to their son's death. Case was eventually settled out of court for an undisclosed sum. The case also sparked wider discussions about the pressure cooker environment of Silicon Valley, where the line between personal and professional lives often blurred, and the cult of the CEO sometimes led to unchecked abuses of power. It led to calls for greater diversity and inclusion in the tech industry, as well as better support systems for LGBT+ employees who might feel pressured to hide their true selves. Years later, the murder of Austin Wilson remains a cautionary tale in Silicon Valley and beyond. It serves as a grim reminder that beneath the glossy surface of success and innovation, human frailty, desire, fear, shame, and the desperate need to maintain appearances can lead to tragic consequences. For those who knew Alexander Reeves, the question lingers. Was it the fear of losing his carefully constructed public image that drove him to murder? Or was it the desperate act of a man who, after a lifetime of hiding his true self, simply couldn't face the prospect of his deepest secret being exposed? In the end, the tale of Alexander Reeves and Austin Wilson is more than just a sensational murder case. It's a case about the price of living a lie, the destructive power of secrets, and the tragic consequences that can unfold when one values reputation and success over human life and authentic relationships. As Silicon Valley continues to churn out new technologies and create new billionaires, the ghost of this tragedy serves as a somber reminder. In the relentless pursuit of success and perfection, we must not lose sight of our humanity. Or in the gilded cages of our own making, we may find that the most dangerous predator is the one staring back at us in the mirror. The ripple effects of the Alexander Reeves case continued to be felt throughout the tech industry for years to come. Companies began implementing stricter ethics policies and more comprehensive mental health support for their employees. The toxic, work hard, play hard culture that had long been a hallmark of Silicon Valley startups began to give way to a more balanced approach, with an emphasis on work-life integration and employee well-being. However, the case also had unintended consequences. Some companies, fearing similar scandals, became overly cautious in their hiring and promotion practices, particularly when it came to LGBT+ employees. This led to a backlash and renewed calls for genuine inclusivity and representation in the tech world. 5 years after the trial, a documentary series titled The Silicon Valley Deception brought the case back into the public eye. The series, which featured interviews with former NexusMind employees, legal experts, and even a jailhouse interview with Alexander Reeves himself, reignited debates about power, sexuality, and ethics in the corporate world. In the interview, a visibly aged Alexander spoke about his regrets and the toll his actions had taken on his family and colleagues. He appeared genuinely remorseful, but many viewers felt his words rang hollow in the face of the life he had taken and the trust he had betrayed. The series also delved deeper into Austin Wilson's life, painting a picture of a young man full of promise whose life was cut tragically short. Friends and former classmates spoke of his kindness, his ambition, and his dream of using technology to make the world a better place. The portrait that emerged was a stark contrast to the salacious details that had dominated headlines during the trial. Victoria Reeves, who had largely avoided the public eye since the trial, agreed to a single interview for the documentary. With quiet dignity, she spoke about the challenges of rebuilding her life and protecting her children in the wake of the scandal. Her resilience and determination to create something positive from the tragedy touched many viewers. The documentary also explored the life of the blackmailer, Michael Torres, former mid-level engineer at NexusMind, who had been laid off during a round of cost-cutting measures. Torres, serving a sentence for extortion, expressed remorse for his actions but maintained that he had never intended for anyone to get hurt. His case served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of resentment and the unintended consequences of one's actions. In an unexpected twist, the renewed attention brought by the documentary led to a re-examination of some of NexusMind's abandoned research projects. A team of AI ethicists and computer scientists, funded by a coalition of tech companies, began exploring ways to use the company's groundbreaking algorithms for social good, carrying forward Austin Wilson's vision in a way he never had the chance to do himself. 10 years after the murder, a small memorial garden was established on the Stanford University campus, Austin Wilson's alma mater. The garden, featuring a simple plaque and a bench for quiet reflection, became a place for students and faculty to contemplate the ethical implications of their work and the importance of living authentically. Alexander Reeves, still serving his sentence, became an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights and mental health awareness in the prison system. While many remained skeptical of his motives, his efforts did lead to improved support services for incarcerated individuals struggling with their sexuality or gender identity. The tech industry, forever changed by the scandal, continued to grapple with issues of power, privacy, and ethics. New startups emerged, founded on principles of transparency and social responsibility, directly inspired by the lessons learned from the Reeves case. As for NexusMind's revolutionary AI technology, it was eventually revived by a consortium of researchers and ethicists. They worked to ensure that the power of the algorithms would be used responsibly, with strict oversight and a commitment to the public good. In a bittersweet irony, the technology that had been at the center of so much tragedy was now being used to develop early detection systems for mental health issues and to create more inclusive work environment. The case of Alexander Reeves and Austin Wilson became a fixture in business ethics courses and law schools around the world. Students debated the complex interplay of personal morality, corporate responsibility, and societal pressures that had led to such a devastating outcome. In Silicon Valley itself, the case became a part of the region's lore, a cautionary tale whispered in coffee shops and co-working spaces. It served as a reminder that behind every lines of code and every disruptive innovation, there are human beings with all their complexities, flaws, and vulnerabilities. As the years passed, the raw pain of the tragedy began to fade. but its lessons remained. The tech industry, while still driven by ambition and the desire to change the world, became more introspective, more aware of the human cost of unchecked ambition, and the dangers of living behind a carefully constructed facade. In the end, the legacy of Alexander Reeves and Austin Wilson was not the technological innovations they had pursued, but the hard-learned lessons about the value of authenticity, the importance of ethical leadership, and the need for compassion and understanding in an increasingly complex world. Their case continues to resonate, a stark reminder that in the pursuit of progress and success, we must never lose sight of our shared humanity. For it is in acknowledging our vulnerabilities, embracing our true selves, and treating others with empathy and respect that we find not just professional success, personal fulfillment, and a life of genuine meaning and purpose. As Silicon Valley and the wider world continue to evolve, echoes of this tragedy serve as both a warning and a call to action. They challenge us to build not just smarter technologies, but wiser, more compassionate communities where everyone can thrive as their authentic selves, free from the burden of secrets and the fear of judgment. In this way, perhaps, some small measure of redemption can be found in the wake of such a devastating loss. And the dreams of a better, more inclusive world that both Alexander Reeves and Austin Wilson once shared might yet be realized, not through the power of technology alone, through the collective efforts of those inspired by their case to create a more just and understanding society for all. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through the tragic and cautionary tale of the Silicon Valley deception. This case is a stark reminder of the complexities and pressures and exist behind the closed doors of power and influence. As we delve into the lives of individuals who seem to have it all, we uncover the dark undercurrents of ambition, secrecy, and the desperate lengths to which people can go to protect their image and success. It's important to remember that this narrative, while shocking and sensational, also highlights the very real human emotions and vulnerabilities we all experience. The case of Alexander Reeves and Austin Wilson is more than just a crime. It's a reflection of the struggles for identity, fear of exposure, and the tragic consequences that can arise when we lose sight of our humanity in the relentless pursuit of success. We hope that this exploration has provided not just a glimpse into the lives of these individuals, but also sparked a deeper understanding of the broader issues at play within the high-stakes world of Silicon Valley. Issues such as the pressure to conform to societal expectations, toxic culture of overwork and ambition, and the need for genuine inclusivity and support for all individuals, regardless of their background or identity. As we close this chapter, we want to express our deepest gratitude to you, our viewers, for your time, attention, and engagement. We know that stories like these can be difficult to hear, but they are important in shedding light on the realities that often go unspoken. By sharing these narratives, we hope to contribute to a more open and empathetic conversation about the challenges that exist in our world, particularly in industries that wield so much power and influence. We also want to take a moment to acknowledge the real-life individuals who may see echoes of their own experiences in this case. Whether it's the struggle to balance personal identity with professional ambition, or the fear of being judged for who you truly are, know that you are not alone. Your stories matter. And by speaking out, we can all work towards a more understanding and supportive society. As we look ahead, we are committed to continuing to bring you stories that not only captivate, but also challenge us to think critically about the world we live in. We believe in the power of case-telling to inspire change, to provoke thought, and to foster empathy. And we are so grateful to have you with us on this journey. Thank you once again for your support. We invite you to stay tuned for more content that delves into the complexities of human nature, the intricacies of power, and the importance of staying true to oneself. We look forward to seeing you in our future videos, where we will continue to explore the stories that shape our world and the lessons we can learn from them. Until then, take care, stay curious, and remember to always look beyond the surface. There's always more to the case, and we're excited to uncover it together with you. See you in the next video.